Today we are in Corfu Town, which is in the island of Corfu in the Ionian Sea, which is off the northwest coast of Greece. This is an amazing little place. We're super excited to explore it. Normally when people come here in the summertime, there's tons of things to do all across the island, but we're here in January, so things are a bit shut down for the slow season. There's always pluses and minuses to coming in off season, but we're excited to kind of look around and see what we can find.
Here we are at our first stop, the Old Fort. Now this is the most prominent feature of the entire town. You can see it from just about everywhere. These big hills behind me are just beautiful to look at. Back in the 6th century, this was the entire town, this peninsula. It was surrounded by fortifications and everyone lived inside them to keep safe. As the centuries passed, it was taken over by the Venetians and the British, and everyone added their own touches to this fortress. This church over my shoulder is St. George Church. It was built in the 1840s by the British, and it can hold up to 4,000 people. We think the regular price to come in is €6. We don't really know because they let us come in free today. We don't know if it's a special day or if it's just a winter thing, and there are not many people here at all today.
So we thought we'd give you a quick look at the place that we're staying. We found this on booking.com. We're right in Old Town, and it's a small but really nice, cute little place. We've got a 2-bedroom, 1-bath apartment, and I'm gonna take you out on the balcony because the view is the best part. The weather in Corfu, we've been in like the 50s and 60s. It's pretty chilly if you get in the shade, but if you're in the sunshine, it actually warms up pretty nice. But this is our view. You can see it is just beautiful. This is still Corfu off to the left. Right across from us is a little island called Mouse Island. And then if you could see on the other side of Mouse Island, that's Albania. Saranda is a town. If we get farther away, you can kind of just see it peeking around, but that's where we're gonna head tomorrow. I did want to just talk real quick about getting here and away. I think most people, if you're already in Greece, you're probably going to fly. They've got some pretty cheap flights from Athens to Corfu. However, we are here in January and the airport was actually closed. They're doing some, I don't know, refurbishment, something, but the whole airport was closed for a couple of weeks. So we took the bus from Athens all the way here. It was about a 6-hour bus ride up to a small town on the coast, and then we got on a ferry. And the ferry took us right over here. That cost us $60 or 60 euros, and the bus actually got on the ferry with us, so it was really easy. The ferry was a pretty big ferry. They did have some snacks. It took about an hour and a half to get across, and so that was pretty straightforward. Going to Albania, because we're off season, they often will have multiple ferries during the day, but here in the middle of winter, most of the companies really slow down, and there was only one crossing that we're taking at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. They do have a fast ferry that takes a half an hour and a slow ferry that takes an hour and a half. Tomorrow, the only one that's running apparently is the fast ferry. I'm a little nervous about it because I get seasick sometimes on those smaller ferries, but it's only a half hour to get across, and that cost us 20 euros a piece.
Behind me is the steeple of the Church of St. Spyridon, probably the most important church in Corfu Town. It's named after the patron saint of Corfu Island, St. Spyridon, who rid the island of the plague. Now, you might really want to go in here to look at the beautiful painted ceilings, but even more important, inside you'll find a beautifully ornate, decorated silver box flanked by 2 guards that contains the relic remains of St. Spyridon himself. Now it's free to go in, but they do ask that you do not take pictures inside.
So now we're gonna come check out the new fort. Now in reality, the new fort is still a very old fort. It just isn't as old as the other old fort. Now, back when Corfu was still under Venetian control, it was attacked in the First Great Ottoman Siege, and it was decided that the old fort wasn't enough to protect the population that was living here. So back in the 1570s and 80s, this new fort was built. Now, each fort had its own governor, and under Venetian rule, the two governors had to swear an oath never to talk to each other. The Venetians were afraid that if they got together, they might collude on treasonous activities. So we're gonna go take a look at this new fort and we'll show you around. So unfortunately, the new fort is closed during the winter season. But if you're here in the summertime, you're probably gonna want to take a look inside. It looks like it's really beautiful.
We are David and Robb, a travel-loving couple who are here to give you an example of what is possible with your own long-term travel. If you want to hear some more tips and tricks, go ahead and hit that subscribe button.
One of the best things about wandering around Corfu Town is that it's exactly like Venice, which is not surprising in that this was controlled by the Venetians for a very long time and built to their standards. But you just get to wander around through these little alleyways. They're narrow, they're small, they go off in every direction. You can totally get lost in here as we have. I have no idea where we are right now, but it's just beautiful to wander around and enjoy the way this city looks. It's really nice.
If you're looking for a place to do a little walking in nature, Mon Repos might be the place for you. It is located about 2 kilometers away from the old town of Corfu, but the walk is beautiful. It's along the waterfront, and it's a great place to come and see a little nature. The grounds surrounding the mansion are a large forest park that contain lots of trails and even some ruins. When I was young, I was gifted the book My Family and Other Animals by Gerald Durrell, which is about a young boy who grows up on the island of Corfu and explores the wildlife that lives here. Well, the budding biologist in me at the time couldn't have been more excited about the idea of one day visiting Corfu myself. We made a video about the books and movies that inspired us to travel, and you can link to that right here.
In a perfect world, I would love to have a lot longer to stay here and to get out and explore the rest of the island. I think there is a lot here that would keep David and I very entertained. For this trip, we only had a couple of days. We're watching our Schengen calendar and we had to get to Albania. But for a very quick visit, this is just sort of the highlights tour of Corfu Town, and we've really had a great time.
Today and not tomorrow.